Hi, this is Hot Chocolate with Paul for Saturday, August 31. Today we're going to talk about living with the disease C. diff. So, for once, you get to watch yourself on Hot Chocolate with Paul.
We're big fans. Our whole family is big fans. It's an honor.
Yeah. All right. This is Hot Chocolate with Paul. Today I have Robin Rudd, and like she said, she is a big fan of Hot Chocolate with Paul. I feel honored that you like to watch it. Sometimes it's just been me babbling on and on and on, but
The
I
whole
guess
family loves it. We love you, Paul. Think you're
that's
great.
that's cool. I know you wanted to get on here. You wanted to talk about something that affects your life on a daily basis, 24 hours a day. As many times as I've seen the word written out, I still don't know how to pronounce it. How do you pronounce it?
It's called Clostridium Difficile.
Okay. And I'll take your word on it. So, what exactly is it and how does it affect you?
Clostridium difficile is an infectious disease. Typically, the main cause of the illness is taking antibiotics. You can get it other ways, but the main way you would develop Clostridium difficile would be through taking antibiotics. Um, I was sick in the fall of 2016, and I had been on a couple courses of antibiotics. And right around Christmas time, a little bit after that, I knew something was really wrong. So I had a bunch of intestinal symptoms that just continued to get worse. Um, I went to see my physician's assistant at the doctor's office, and she was instrumental in getting me diagnosed. You hear so many people who have C. diff and they're never diagnosed properly because their doctor never thinks to test them for it. They may say, "Oh, you have a dairy allergy, or you have a gluten allergy." But because my PA had recognized that I had been on multiple courses of antibiotics throughout the fall, she said, "This may be something we need to test for." And the next day, she called me and said, "You do have C. diff for short. Clostridium difficile is abbreviated as C. diff." And she started me on the antibiotic that was used to treat C. diff at the time. Um, it's been a long journey since that time. I've had multiple bouts of C. diff. I've had every C. diff antibiotic. I've had two fecal transplants, which is basically the last resort. If that doesn't cure you, you won't be cured. And I had multiple transplants, which is very extremely rare. Um, and from that point on, I had my first bout was in 2017. So it was January of 2017 when I was diagnosed. I was sick from January to July. July, I finally went back to work. And a little bit over a year later, September of 2018, I contracted it for the second time after again taking an antibiotic.
So, we often hear warnings about taking too many antibiotics, like a so-called superbug or something like that. Is this that, or is that something different?
Yes, this is a superbug. It's also called an antibiotic resistant infection. Um, you Doctors have recently developed a antibiotic stewardship, which promotes the responsible distribution of antibiotics. So dentists have stopped giving antibiotics before treatments if it's not immediately necessary. And doctors, unless you have a proven bacterial infection, so a kidney infection or some kind of bacterial pneumonia, something that's proven that's a bacterial infection, not nothing from COVID, nothing viral. Unless it's proven that you have a bacterial infection, doctors are really being cautious about prescribing antibiotics now because C. diff is it's such a severe infection, and it really, like myself and a lot of other C. diff patients, it affects your life forever. You don't go back to being a normal person once you've gotten it.
So what is daily life for you like now? I know you're basically kind of living in a COVID setting.
I
It's good to
do.
see.
Every single day of my life, 24 hours a day, it's on my mind. Staying healthy is on my mind. Um, from probably October-ish to April, I'm home. I don't go to the grocery store. My boyfriend does it for me. I don't go to family dinners. I don't go to any setting where there's a bunch of people together, where there's a ton of kids. My family's homes. I don't go. I'm constantly worried about illness because any illness at all can trigger C. diff once again. I typically live, quote unquote, live my life during the summertime. um, During the summer, I run, I'm out in the sun. I tend to be over to my family's homes, where a door can be open, or just in general, people aren't as sick throughout the summertime. Not that COVID ever really goes away, but it's just not so rampant in the summer. So I will basically live my life the best I can during the summertime. And then once the kids go back to school and people become sick, it's flu season. I don't go to the gym. I don't go to the grocery store. I'm home almost all the time. Another reason I'm home during the winter is I have been left with very painful intestinal flares. They're unpredictable. It can be as little as stress, too much stress, not sleeping well, developing a cold, even just a cold, something that small will trigger a painful intestinal flare. And these are days where I'm homebound. I can't leave the house. And most of the time I'm in bed medicated. It's extremely painful. And it's basically one of the side effects of having multiple bouts of infectious disease. It's called post-infectious bowel. And unfortunately for me, that's usually a temporary condition, but it's been since 2019. That was my last bout with C. diff, and that was also my last transplant. And I still suffer from the effects. So I'm extremely cautious of how I live my life. And I also don't make too many plans. I always hope to be there, and I always hope to still get invited, even though people know I may not be able to attend. But I'm
I know
extremely cautious.
it's kind of an honor just to hear the invitation, to know that you're
Yes.
being thought of.
Yes. And my family typically, they know there's always that caveat. You're invited if you feel well, and if you don't come, we totally understand. There's never any pressure. They still invite me. Um, it's kind of like the outsiders who are like, well, she didn't come, she's a flake, or and it's extremely difficult. They can't understand. They can't understand how my life is now. But I do, I, there's I understand that people don't understand C. diff. Many people have never even heard of it. I knew what C. diff was before I'd gotten sick, but being healthy and being young, I always thought it was an older nursing home type of disease that was passed, when you're in a healthcare facility or when you're older or weaker. And that's definitely not the case. Anybody healthy, young, it doesn't matter who you are, even if you haven't been on antibiotics. C. diff is in the airport, it's on your shopping cart, it's on your shoes. Anyone can get it. You can be healthy, you can be young, and it really doesn't, there is no real shape to who exactly can get C. diff.
Yeah.
Anyone can get it.
Do you worry about your boyfriend or any family members bringing it into your house?
Yes, I actually, I worry about anything coming into the house, but at least being at home, I have some control. We don't wear our shoes in the house. I bleach everything. I'm very hyper vigilant about things being wiped down and cleaned. Tons of vacuuming, tons of bleaching. I can control what comes in the house to an extent because I know I could clean it. Um, and Joey is very he's very aware of, having lived every second with me, he knows certain things to do, maybe like to change your clothes when you come in from being at the store, to not wear your shoes throughout the house. There's things that we never wash our clothes together. That was something we started when I first got sick. We were advised, don't wash your clothes together, because C. diff is only killed by bleach. So even just soap and water, it doesn't necessarily kill C. diff. It
Yeah,
only germicidal bleaches, and bleach will actually kill C. diff.
yeah,
So he's learned right along with me how to live, basically. Um, and he's very aware of my anxiety about it also, and things that will help us get through, the day or the week, just by, making a life a little bit easier for me, anxiety wise. But he's great. He's great.
do you ever worry about him getting it?
I did worry about it when I had active infection, because it's so easy to transmit it from person to person. And it is the medicines don't work as well. So if you do get it, it's not like you take something and you're better in a couple of weeks. So and it's very hard to kill. When I had the active infection, I worried about every single second of every single day that he was going to get it. Now it's more so if he's ever put on an antibiotic, which he's been put on, I think one time, maybe like in the past 5 years, he's been on an antibiotic. And typically we'll tell the doctors, no, we can't have them in our house. But if it's something to where, in this instance, Joey had to have it. So we took action. We made sure he was on a probiotic, tons of yogurts, tons of probiotics. And that was something we didn't know before I got sick, to
Yeah.
always take a probiotic with your antibiotics. I'd never even heard of a probiotic before
That's
I had
news to
been
me.
sick. Yeah. Yeah. So when he was on the antibiotic, he knew exactly what to do. We both did. And then we just kind of waited, because even when you come off of the antibiotic, it stays in your system. So you have to continue to take a probiotic. But that's really the only times I ever worried about him getting it were when I had the active infection and when he was on an antibiotic. But since we do know now the steps to take, it's a little bit easier to manage
Yeah, you could probably take the attitude as like, oh, why is he staying with me? I must be such a pain in the ass in his life.
every
But
day.
I think it's a testament that he stays with you. I mean,
I do too.
so how do you feel about
He's
that?
so the disease is so horrific. It doesn't go away. It takes months and months and months and months for it to go away. If you have a severe refractory case such as I did, where nothing works, you're receiving multiple medications, you're extremely sick. And because it's such a contagion in your home, I mean, this person, Joey, had to run out in the middle of the night to get me prescriptions. He had to stay away from me. I mean, we can't sleep in the same bed, we can't use the same bathroom, and we have continued to live that way. As far as, not sharing bathrooms, because it's at any second, if I get it, in the process of it, he could get it as well. So to have someone who understands all of that, still loves me, and then continues, like, this affected our lives, and that when I was infected for the second time, we lost our home. I lost my career. And I can no longer work. So now I basically turned to him and said, okay, well, it's up to you to provide everything now. You have to pay for everything. You have to go to the store all the time. You have to, you know, um, basically carry our household on your shoulders. And Paul, he does it without one word of animosity or feeling resentful. He does it because he loves me. And that has I think every single day I wake, the first thing I say is, thank God I'm still here. And thank God Joey's still here
Hmm.
because he truly does it all. And, my family does as well. My family has been my brother, my entire family, they've been here for me through the worst of it. And it's really my family and Joey that they do everything. I mean, I don't have any income. I don't have any contribution to the house at all financially. So to have him and my family really carry me through this, all of them are blessings in my life. And I think because, there is no, I don't think of a future where, oh, I can work 40 hours and save money and we'll buy a beautiful home, or we'll save up our money and we'll go on a trip or something like that. None of that that's not realistic in our house. There is no saving anything. There's, medications and doctor's appointments, and, there's one person not working at all. There's one person with no money at all. So it's not, there isn't, some grandiose future that we're going to save up for. This is it. So to have someone who'll stick by you through that, it's a testament to really my whole family. It's almost like God said, well, you're not going to have a big, beautiful home or kids or, a great career. You're not going to have any of that. And you're going to be sick most of the time, but you're going to have a family unit and someone around you who will stay with you and be there for you to support you no matter what. That's probably the biggest blessing of my entire life is my family, and Joey being here to help me through it all.
So what what kind of activities do you like to do in your home? I mean, sounds like you can't really plan anything, but are there games you like to play or other activities you like to do?
I'm a big writer. I like journaling and things like that. I write a lot. It also helps with the anxiety. You kind of get it out. I have a treadmill and I love
Okay.
to run. So when I feel good enough, that's what I'm doing. That also helps with the anxiety aspect at all as well. And I'm a big true crime buff. So any true crime story, any murder mystery, any true crime drama, reality has to be real. It can't be like a Law and Order like my mom likes. Sorry, mom, but it's got to be a real story. I love those, and they really do keep me entertained. So, and I do a lot of reading about our our patients, our C. diff patients. When you're going through the illness, you feel so alone because even your doctors truly don't understand it. So, reaching out to people who are suffering through the illness, advocacy work. It's been hard for me to get into because in a way it's a little bit like a trigger because you relive it when you sit with patients who are going through what you went through. But for them to have someone who completely understands exactly what's going on, I think that helps both of us to heal.
Okay. Well, I caught on to a word I can pronounce, which is C. diff, so I'll go with that.
Yes.
Are there any organizations out there that can give you some kind of support, whether it's maybe not financially, but in other ways?
Yes. So the one that was instrumental in recovery is called the Peggy Lillis Foundation. It's run by Peggy's two sons. Peggy died of C. diff after taking an antibiotic for after having some dental work. Um, she had passed away um, after several days of being on the antibiotic. She developed C. diff and passed away. So her son started the Peggy Lillis Foundation. And, when my doctors didn't have answers, I was able to go to the Peggy Lillis Foundation, and they actually gave me a list of other doctors I could try to talk to. They also right now they do a lot of government work. They are in New York. They've been working with a Congresswoman, Yvette Clarke, to pass a new law where each healthcare facility has to report the C. diff infections. This is huge because to know when your community is sick and to know, where these outbreaks are coming from, and to have that put into law where you have to report cases of C. diff, that's going to be huge. And I also think it brings attention to creating more treatments for C. diff because as the years have progressed, what they originally gave me at my very first onset of C. diff, it no longer works because C. diff is just so hardy and strong that the medications one by one are going down, not working anymore. So
Well,
I think this also brings a little bit of awareness to pharmaceutical companies, which also I've been working with, to try to develop cures, using biologics, using other types of transplant methods, to develop some treatments since these other C. diff antibiotics aren't working as well. And Peggy Lillis Foundation, the executive director, Christian Lillis, he will text you, he will call you. His family went through the worst of it. So they are an advocate for you. They also have advocates that work and share their stories. They do therapy and group sessions once a month to kind of help caretakers even to get them the help they need and the understanding of the illness. So the Peggy Lillis Foundation has been an incredible resource for not only me, but the whole C. diff community. They're excellent. And I don't know what I would have done without them, even now.
yeah. What kind of perception do you feel you would like people to have of you? I mean, I don't get the I don't get the sense that you want people to feel sorry for you,
No,
but what do you
I
like people to think of you?
I lived, the people the families that have lost someone to this illness. I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm here. I have a beautiful family. I have most of the time my summers are great. I still run in races. I still get out and see my family, and I still once in a while I'll drink a beer and stuff like that. So, I would just hope that people would think of my story and, maybe not go begging their doctor for an antibiotic, or maybe not rush their kids to the doctor asking for an antibiotic. Try other things, keep them home. I know it's extremely difficult to keep sick kids home and to stay home if you're sick, especially if you don't have sick days. But a lot of the stuff going around now is viral. And if people could just stay home, which is, I know it's impossible, but to have them stay home and rest and, try to keep yourself healthy. A lot of people don't believe in masks. They don't believe in distancing, but it works. Keeping yourself healthy, trying to keep your family healthy. And if I can keep one family from going through this, just if they just pause for a second and think, what can I do? What's the right thing to do here in this instance? I think that's more the focus I want them to have is, how can I keep my family healthy, keep us from not getting C. diff? What's the right steps to take so that we don't develop this illness? Most especially if you are prescribed an antibiotic, ask your doctor, which probiotic should I be taking, doctor? And if your doctor says, no, don't worry about a probiotic, or C. diff is so rare. Well, I had C. diff twice, so how rare could it really be? I was healthy and young. So, even if it causes you to ask the right questions, which I didn't know to ask back then, I think that's what I want people to think of when they see me or hear my story. I just want it to help them in their lives.
Right. So is there anything else that you feel you want to make sure we cover that hasn't been talked about yet?
I would really just say for people, especially gonna be going into kids going back to school. It's gonna be fall, winter time. Just do what you can to keep your family well. Um, I know some people are like, oh, it's just a cold. COVID's a cold. I was fine. That might be your case, but for a lot of us immune comp people, or even maybe you don't realize someone in your family is immune comped, and you'll realize it when they suffer something like I did. So just stay a little vigilant, trying to take care of yourself and your family. I think we have to work together in doing that. maybe if you're not feeling well, don't attend a party, don't attend a dinner or something like that. But just have a little care and compassion for each other. And I think that'll help all of us get through this coming flu and COVID season.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for taking your time to talk about this today. And knowing your family, I know they'll be cheering you on when they see this.
Yay! Well, thanks for having me. I'm going to be famous. They're going to love it.
Right.